Hello, welcome back to the YouTube channel of Bethel Evangelical Free Church, Hanley. I'm Pastor Gervais Charmley, and this is the first video I've done on a church in Lancashire. And this is St Lawrence's Longridge. Longridge is a little town up in the hills above Preston as you head out towards Clitheroe. It's on the way to Ribchester. And this is St Lawrence's. Now, Ribchester was one of the main local churches, and in the Middle Ages Longridge wasn't a parish, but it was a chapelry within a wider parish. And there was a little chapel up here on the hill, because the name Longridge, long ridge of land. There's a little chapel up here on the hill dedicated to St Lawrence. It's been rebuilt many times, in the 18th century at least twice. In the 19th century, in 1822, a tower was added in 1841. And in the 1880s, the decision was taken to build a brand new church, St Paul's, in a different part of the town. In fact, as the town had developed, St Lawrence is out on one side, and they wanted to have a church in the middle. But such was the love of the local people for St Lawrence's that they kept the church going, and it remains to this day a functioning church, so that Longridge has two Anglican churches. And this is the old church. Now, oddly enough, it's not listed. This is unfortunately because it's been altered, and for some reason they don't think it's of sufficient architectural and historical importance. Utter nonsense. I mean, look at the building. How many Anglican churches are there like this? The current interior is basically from about 1900, and you can see there are galleries on both sides. It's a sort of setup that you might find in a nonconformist church. Lancashire's a funny place because it's one of those places where there's a lot of Roman Catholicism survived after the Reformation. Not so much in the towns, although it did in the towns, but very much in the hills. Up here, there's there's a number of Roman Catholic churches around here. There's one, Alston Lane, which is it's rebuilt about late 19th century, 20th centuries. But there is a big church, St Wilfrid's, in the town. That's to do with just how important Roman Catholicism is around here, Roman Catholic schools, and so on. But what this tended to do with Lancashire Anglicanism was it tended to make it more Protestant. Because obviously, either you try to compete with the Roman Catholics or you try to be totally different from them. And it's tended to be very much that way. Historically, obviously things change over time. Well, as we look around this building, we'll see just how unique it is. I don't know of another Anglican church quite like it. And why isn't it listed, protected legally? Don't know. But hopefully that situation will change. Well, let's have a look around and admire the beauties of St Lawrence's Longridge. Well, welcome to the gallery. This is the North Gallery, at least ecclesiastically. The orientation of this building is, I think it is, well, like most of these, more or less east-west with a little bit of variation. And there are two galleries here, one on either side, with separate access, of course. There's no rear gallery. But the idea of the galleries is just to increase seating without increasing the ground plan. It's unusual here because a lot of Anglican churches, in fact, it's normal for Anglican churches to increase seating primarily by adding aisles. But here, for various reasons, they've gone, let's instead build galleries either side. Because it's about 1900, it's this beautiful late Victorian or Edwardian style. And it's a beautiful building. And enough of me wittering into the camera. Let's have a look for ourselves. And so most unusually, we start in the North Gallery. We'll just look at the North Gallery because the galleries are very, very similar. So just go along the North Gallery like this. You can see at the end there's the organ console, and then the organ pipes are actually separate. You can see then there on the south side, or yes, on the south side of the chancel. Nice big stained glass window at the east end. Looking across, we have the south gallery, and there is no west gallery. So here we are up high in the gallery, nice big chandelier in the middle, of course, and there we are looking west along the gallery. So that is the north gallery. Let's have a look here then at the roof. The roof is this nice open timbered roof, sort of thing you'll find in many chapels, and because you've got these galleries, you've got these extra timbers here, and then downstairs you've got cast iron pillars supporting the galleries. There's a number of, you'll see the shields on the ends of the hammer beams really, and they are initials with dates, must be to do with the building, perhaps relating to former clergy who would of course have been curates under the Mother Church until the latter part of the 19th century. So let's go downstairs and have a look around the bottom. And now we start at the west end. You can see the galleries either side of the chancel arch, and obviously the chancel arch dimensions are very much related to the dimension of the gallery. We have this nice font. I'm not sure how old it is. There's a couple of older fonts outside, so it's an old font from somewhere else that's been brought here, or it is a Victorian replica of an older font, because the design certainly looks medieval. We have a little chapel in there, little side chapel that's the memorial chapel, and the oldest things in the building really are these memorials. This is to the late Reverend Robert Parkinson, who for the period of 48 years discharged the ministerial duties of this chapel. He departed this life November 21st, 1828, aged 72. His conduct both as a spiritual pastor and friendly counsellor was such as to render him highly beloved by a large circle of friends during life, and greatly lamented in death. So he would have been responsible for the rebuilding of the chapel in 1822. And then here we have a memorial to the Reverend George Parkin, who departed this life the 27th of March, AD 1831, aged 67 years. Blessed are the dead which die in the Lord. Even so saith the Spirit, for they rest from their labours, and their works do follow them. And there we have the gallery stairs. That's the south porch doorway, and on this side you've got these stained glass windows, but beyond there is not, in fact, the outside, but there is a hall, schoolroom in there. Very good idea, of course. And on the ends of the pews we have these. These are not handles for lifting them, these are umbrella holders. You can just see the drip trays at the bottom. So we'll then progress past the memorial chapel here. This is the little chapel where you'd expect to find a south porch. Under the gallery, nice sloping gallery front here, a nice list of vicars or ministers going all the way back to 1554, and we find that in 1662, see there, Reverend Timothy Smith was ejected. So he was a Puritan who refused to conform, and he was kicked out, and nothing survives of his building really, but it's interesting to note that this was a Puritan chapel here once. And the setup is still very much emphasising the pulpit. You can see that pulpit brought forward. There's some stained glass, not very old, but quite decent. Here we have St. Paul. You can see Paul preaching on Mars Hill, and there's Paul in prison giving dictation. There's a chapel at the end here, memorial chapel, and choir stalls. It's all been brought forward here, very good idea. We've got here Moses. There he is, Moses. In two scenes, you've got Moses and the giving of the law, and there's Moses watching as the people go into the promised land, and he doesn't. And then we have the chancel, very nice chancel here. Stained glass window is the resurrection, quite a common subject, and it's a memorial, war memorial, 1914-18. So you've got, as well as the British Royal Arms in the centre, there's France, Belgium, Italy, and the United States of America represented. Interestingly enough, Japan is not, even though they were one of the Allies. And there's no room for them, so they can't just be taken out in the Second World War. Nice oak pulpit, again emphasising the word. You do have here, 1900, you're beginning to get this sort of high church layout just about everywhere, including some nonconformist chapels, oddly enough. Up the stairs to, there we have the altar, and it is altar-wise now, of the actual war memorial there, and a bit closer now you can see that resurrection. Now, the resurrection is quite an interesting subject. It's quite often done by, the resurrection, the ascension, are quite often done in low church, evangelical type parishes, and it's subtly saying, well, we don't believe in the corporeal presence at the Lord's Supper. So that may be part of the subtext here. It certainly is in some places. And looking west, I mean, look at that. There are not many better Anglican churches, and then up into that lovely roof. Because people can get up there, it's up to the gallery, then the roof is decorated partially for that reason and partially because a lovely roof. So there's that lovely big pulpit. You can see entry in, yeah, and from the pulpit you have this sort of commanding view of everything. A lovely building, and under the north gallery we've got these windows. They're not, of course, displayed at their best unless there's lights on in the hall, but there we are. There we have Jesus receiving little children. Here we have the boy Christ in the carpenter's shop, and there we are looking back, and of course we've got the gallery stairs on either side. Well, we will process all the way to the back here, because you've got this is the boy Christ in the temple with the teachers of the law. Because of course that's a Sunday school hall, and so child-related stuff. And here we have, of course, the young John the Baptist with St. Elizabeth, and then the Virgin Child. There's the Burma Star Association Memorial, so the men of the parish who served in Burma in the Second World War. So that is the inside here at St. Lawrence's, Longridge. Isn't it absolutely fantastical? Well, we go outside now and admire the exterior of the church. And so here we are outdoors at St. Lawrence's, Longridge. You can see here this tower behind me. This is 1841, there's a date on it. And it's certainly externly the part that has the oldest, shall we say, the oldest appearance. Obviously some of the walls are going to be 1822, but it's been so altered, and yet it hasn't been made less attractive but more attractive because of its history. So we'll have a look around the outside rather than looking at me in gloom at the moment with the church in gloom behind me. So here we go. Yes, 1841 date on the tower, and we'll circle around. There's a very extensive graveyard, as you can imagine. In fact, when in the 1880s they talked about closing the church for regular worship, they wanted to keep it as a mortuary chapel. But the local people said, no, we want our church. We want to worship here like our ancestors, and so that's what happened. And you can see there this Gothic tower, and then you've got these windows reflecting where the gallery is. It's again, if that nave could be a nonconformist chapel. It's form and function go together, you see. If you've got galleries, it's good to have, well, you've got to have windows to light top and bottom, and how do you do it? Well, around here you do it like that. It's a beautiful building. One of my favourite churches here, you can see there, and we'll walk around the, just have a look at the view from here, look at that reservoir and the hills beyond. Beautiful, absolutely lovely. A lot of memorials up here, obviously the old memorials are up here around the church. Some of them are older than anything in the current building, and those walls have just very much looked like they rebuilt the entire nave, apart from the end wall about 1900, which is great. And then here we are around the back here. The most interesting thing and the most misleading thing here from the outside is the north side, because the north side, you arrive there and you think, well, it's got an aisle, but of course it hasn't. It's the Sunday school hall. That over the road probably would have been the school at one point, certainly these pointy bits. Now, funeral director. Vestry, lots and lots of memorials in the graveyard. Last time I was here, I helped give advice for the rescuing of a hedgehog that had wandered onto the road, and of course you don't want them doing that, because hedgehogs, well, they're just not very robust. See, there's the hall there, and it does look so much like an aisle from here. And you go, that's a big aisle, and you realise, no, there's the lich gate there. No, that's not an aisle, that is the Sunday school hall, and certainly is now the Sunday school hall. It's a great idea, of course, because it means that you've got somewhere for refreshments and things after the service, which so many older churches didn't have, certainly Anglican ones. And here, because it's been rebuilt when it's been rebuilt, you can see there that door, that's effectively it's a porch, and you go in the porch and you can turn left and get into the hall, or you can carry on going and end up in the church. And this is, well, the main entrances are either through there or more often through the tower. So that is the outside here of this beautiful building, St Lawrence's, Longridge. So there you have it, St Lawrence's, Longridge. Is it not? I mean, it's a very special building. I don't know another one quite like it. Certainly in terms of that nave that feels so much like a free church building. And it's very much worth visiting. There's St Paul's in the town, and there's a number of churches around about. Ribchester, St Wilfrid's, the Roman Catholic Church here, is an interesting one. So just a little taster here. It's an important, exciting church, St Lawrence's. Well, thank you for watching. I apologise for the traffic noise, can't do anything about it. We're in the middle of the town, well, on the edge of the town. But thank you for watching, and may God bless you and keep you until next time.